Awesome.
So welcome everybody to our ADHD support group meeting, and it is July 2023, halfway through the year, and tonight we have Coach Anita, who is ADHD, and who's going to be talking to us. So thank you so much, Anita, for volunteering, and welcome.
Pleasure. Thanks, Trace. Welcome, everyone. So if you are new to the ADHD support group, please put up your hand if you would like just a recap on what ADHD is. Basically, if you're new to ADHD and just want an explanation in a nutshell, I can do that. I don't want to just go off into the topic and you're new to it and you don't really understand, or you would like to know more about ADHD. You can just put your hand up and I can give you a breakdown of the symptoms and what ADHD is. Everybody cool? So we all know what ADHD is. All righty. So we're going to be talking about ADHD and impulsivity. So as we know, one of the symptoms of ADHD is impulsivity. So you've got impulsivity, inattention, and hyperactivity. So it's one of the main symptoms of ADHD. So we're going to go closer into impulsivity. We're going to break it down. It's a nice small, you don't have to be shy. There's only a few of us. So I'm going to ask some questions and we're going to share our thoughts and experiences. So before we start, maybe quickly let's just introduce yourself and tell us one interesting fact about yourself. So I'll start. My name is Anita. An interesting fact about me is that I am left-handed. So let's go to, is it Liesel? Liesel.
Yes. I'm Liesel. I don't know if there is anything interesting about me. I read up on everything. I like to know anything about everything. But
that is nothing. You
identified.
You like
more,
researching.
Yes, but I feel I'm more in the autistic range of things, and my child is very definitely severe ADHD. And okay. We struggle with that.
Okay, well, welcome. Lovely to meet you, Liesel. Thanks for that.
Thanks.
Nabila.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, how are you?
We can.
Okay, so I am a vet, and the interesting thing about me, I think, is that I can type really fast, and I once checked and it was 99 words per minute. You guys can go look that up. I think it's quite
99 words a minute. I could use you, Nabil. I could use you.
Nabil, from the old school, 120 minutes, 120 types per minute was good. I can do that. We can have a competition.
Oh my word.
Okay, so we got to get together one day and have a type off.
Can you do shorthand?
Have a type off.
Can have a type off.
Yep.
We'll have a typing competition. How's that?
That sounds good.
I'm down for that.
Yeah, me too. Let's
Thanks,
go.
Nabil. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
Natasha?
Hey, interesting fact. When I was in my 20s, we did up a 21-year-old VW combi van, and we drove from Johannesburg to Israel, just for the fun of it.
Wow.
Which was great.
Wow.
Oh,
I have to ask, how long did that take?
You can do it a lot quicker, but it took us 13 months. We were in no rush.
Wow,
Wow.
that is amazing. Thank you for sharing. I love that. Jessica? Jessica? Are you there? Did I go missing?
I can hear you. She went for supper.
Jessica?
Yes.
Okay, should we just wait a bit for her? Yeah, we'll wait for her too. But can everybody hear me? It's not, mine is not delaying, hey, my side.
I can hear you. Thank you.
I can hear you too.
Okay, so there's no delay for me. Okay, just to give you some more info about me, so you know who's presenting. So my name is Anita. So I actually started off in the fashion industry, and I worked as a buyer for 12 years. And I developed severe burnout, and then I was diagnosed with ADHD, and that's how I met Tracy. And I was a client of hers, and then I just loved her so much that I stayed. I just stuck with her, and I've never left her. So she's taught me coaching, and I've qualified through her school, the School of Life. And I work as a life skills coach. I work as an ADHD coach. I also work at a private psychiatric home here in the West Rand. It's called the Bell House. We are a home for people who are struggling with a variety of mental disorders. And I am the life coach there. So I present, and I also do a bit of exercise, yoga, meditation with them. And then I also do an arts and crafts class at a drug and alcohol rehab. I don't know, I'm not very clued up on addiction. I have had addiction in my family, but I don't have personal experience. So I keep it to the arts and craft, and I don't go into that too much. But it is something I'd like to learn a bit more of, because there are many ADHD people at the rehab that I teach at. So definitely a link between addiction and ADHD. So I'd like to learn more about that. Okay, so let's talk about why people with ADHD struggle with impulsivity. So ADHD, it's a problem with our executive functions. So that's your brain's management system. So that's the part of your brain that does the planning, the problem solving, organization, self-regulation, even your goal, working towards goals. So it's basically like the management system. And when you have ADHD, you have a shortage of dopamine. So that is the motivation and reward chemical. So all those levels of your executive functions are at risk, and they all affect your ability to plan, to organize time management, and that delayed gratification, and to suppress your impulsivity. So it is very much an ADHD symptom. And yeah, impulsivity. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so how do we see impulsivity? So what does it look like to be impulsive? So that's acting without thinking. So that's just going on a whim, not considering, pause, thinking about things. So you are very reactive. So there's always going to be triggers, and the triggers are not going to go away. So we've got to learn to respond to the triggers. But when you're impulsive, you're constantly reacting instead of disarming your triggers or using coping skills. So everything affects you. So you're going to be highly reactive and acting on urges. So if you feel like eating 20 donuts, you're going to eat it. You go to the store. So you'll see when you shop with an ADHD person, I've had to really practice controlling myself, but I do have a friend who's ADHD, and it's this, I need that. Let me buy this. And it's like, oh my word, by the end of the month, there's just no money left. So overindulging, binging. So I've also had to put in a system where I don't binge watch, because I will do that. So I have to control myself, and I've got times for, if I'm watching a series, I'll watch like 2 a week. I've had to work really hard at that. So also people who are into gaming, they don't really know when to stop. And it can lead to quite damaging effects, problems with the law, destroying property, because you're not thinking about the consequences. So you'll see also people with impulsivity, you will see that they're angry. They will have outbursts. They struggle with emotional regulation. So they will be emotional. You will see their outbursts. Also boundaries. If you're impulsive, you also struggle with boundaries. So sharing of personal information, overstepping, saying things without thinking, and blurting out answers, interrupting people, because it's lack of that pause. Let me think about it and then respond. And an interesting thing about interrupting. So I always wondered, why the heck do I interrupt people so much? And I realized it's because I know I'm going to forget what I want to say. So I really want to tell you this information. I know you're in mid-sentence, but I know it's going to go out of my head. So I have to tell you now. So that's what I discovered with my issue with interrupting. So I've told myself now, is what I have to say really so important that I have to stop this person from what they are communicating? And a lot of the time it's like, no, park it. It's not actually that important. So then you're also able to offer yourself more, and you're not thinking about what you want to say and how, because it's not as important as what the other person is saying a lot of the time. So that's how we identify impulsive behavior. Okay, so we're going to do an activity. So I want you each to think of a moment or a situation in your life. So we're going to pull from personal experiences, and it's the best way to learn the material. If you're feeling uncomfortable and you really don't want to share, maybe you new and you just need a bit more time to get to know us, that's also okay. There's no pressure. But let's all think, and you can write it on a page, and just think of a time in your life where you have been impulsive. So maybe you bought something. I heard a story the other day from someone who got a very large inheritance. The minute he got it, he bought his father a small yacht, which I thought was quite funny. It was a small yacht, though. It wasn't a big one. So let's all think of something, and then when you are ready, you can just put your hand up. So I have one, but I'll wait. I'll go last. So yeah, think of a situation where you feel you've been impulsive. Liesel.
So I'm going to go first because I'm probably the opposite to that. I consider absolutely everything to death, but I have a husband and a daughter that, my husband loves his kitchen, I call it kitchen porn, but hey, we can't do without 7 different spatulas because they're all different shapes. How about 12 different knives that have nothing to do with each other? my daughter is every day. It's fun. How many friends can we make and tell them mom's weight, age, what is wrong with my teeth, where we live exactly. I did not teach her what our telephone numbers and address was until she was 9 years old. And it's a thing that we were supposed to do when she was 5. But it was half information because she would tell the car guard exactly where we live, how many cats we have. We do not have these people in our life. This is what we do. And it is disconcerting, to say the very least. So I'm considerate, and my child has brought me interesting people.
We'll learn some techniques.
Sorry?
So we're going to learn techniques that you can teach hubby and your daughter with that impulse shopping and then the
Liesel, obviously you aren't ADHD.
yeah.
Okay. So it's quite tough for you.
I would like to also learn, I'd like to know though, if you could maybe teach me how to teach a 60-year-old man new tricks, that would be great.
Wow. How have you coped up to now? You've done something right.
I'm sequestrated. We were homeless for 18 months. We might be homeless in October. I have fought for 11 years to find a diagnosis for my child because everybody said, well, maybe she'll grow out of something. So now we have ADHD plus autism and dysgraphia. So no, I have not coped. I am seriously considering booking myself into a CASO for 21 days so that I can sleep.
Okay, and
Sure.
and who? So you've got your
Sorry.
husband and your daughter.
My husband and my daughter are both great people. They just I'm exhausted by trying to keep kind of keeping things together, sort of.
You've done a lot.
At least it's fascinating. You know, there's a reason they say that the Chinese great wish is may you live in interesting times. I'm kind of hoping for a boring life at some point, but then I wouldn't be nearly as much driven to read up on everything. So there's that.
You've done a lot right.
Mm.
You might not be like, but you really have done a lot right.
I need friends. That's why I'm here.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yay, welcome to the family.
Our friend.
Graham, can you
You'll
step?
gain
What's
insight.
up, you?
Yeah, let Graham put your video on, Graham. Yeah, come, Graham.
I tried, but Elisa doesn't want to see my beautiful face.
I do.
Host,
Me?
maybe it's Tracy.
I do.
Yeah.
You cannot start your
No.
video because the host has stopped it.
No.
Oh, that's Tracy.
It's Tracy.
She's a co-host.
No, sorry.
I'm the host.
Okay. So Graham, tell
Start my video.
it's important that a lot of us as coaches have our own story. We all
Sure.
do. So we're doing this because our mess became a message. We're not doing this because we look for a career. We have careers. And our ADHD or autism or our ADHD came in the way of things. And this is why we do what we do. And Graham, I think maybe you can add to this.
Yes, please.
All right. I think impulsivity with I don't think I'm autistic. I have ADHD, so I'll speak from that point of view. Impulsivity is huge with us. We are always looking for that dopamine rush. If there's people talking about stuff that is outside of our realm of interest, we will make sure that we can control the or whatever we can to the change the conversation so that it's something we're comfortable with. Or if we are in any situation in a social setting, that is something that we the story when that what's it take that thing comes and says you need to spend 29 more to get, you'll add 40 other things to your cart just because you were looking for one thing that maybe you could add for 29 rand and end up spending 400 more bucks, or driving to work and you drive past the first Starbucks and then you drive past the second Starbucks and then end up stopping at the third one, a cappuccino with that drizzle and low-fat macchiato cream and all that stuff, just because you wanted plain white. I mean, all that stuff is things that you deal with when you have ADHD. Dealing with your husband's or your kids' impulsivity, I think, is something that is out of your realm of expertise. That is not helpful to you at level, and the skills on how to stop, take a breath, think about what you're doing. What is it, Tracy? STOPP. Stop, take a breath,
Pause.
organize your thought. Yeah, all that stuff. What is it? Pause. What is O?
Perspective.
Yeah. So teaching your spouse and your kids those things is something that you can control. So instead of getting worked up and going off the handle and saying, "What the fuck are you doing spending 60 bucks on a cup of coffee?" Rather say, "My darling, my love, heart of my life, let me make you a to-go cup of coffee and let's talk about your impulses." That is something you can control. Getting worked up about their spending, or focusing on what you can control is very different to getting worked up about the other kind of stuff. Sorry, I came in late.
Yes, thank you. So we just what we do is doing an activity where we are discussing a moment in our situations in our life where we have acted impulsively. And I've told everybody that they are not pressurized to share. So Liesel, share. Thank you, Liesel. Nabila, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. I actually feel pretty called out by Graham. Hi, nice to meet you. But it's exactly what you were saying about you pass the Starbucks and then suddenly you need a nice latte, or be grocery shopping for one loaf of bread, and then it's like, ooh, there's a new sauce. I gotta try that. And I think that's what I struggle with a lot.
I gotta say, online shopping for people with ADHD is the best thing that ever happened, because you have to search for dishwashing liquid, and then it has dishwashing liquid on there. You're not walking down the aisles with the dishwashing liquid, and then you also
I agree. Yeah.
you know, this and that, and all, you know, all the stuff that kind of just gets added into your cart besides the stuff that's on your list. So online shopping for people with ADHD is awesome.
Yeah, I
Just,
agree.
just, you know, be
And
mindful about what you
dangerous.
need.
And dangerous.
It's a double-edged sword. So for the grocery list, when you have a list of what you need, get that stuff.
Mm.
Be careful when it gets to checkout time and it says you need 28 more rand to get free delivery. That's when you know, getting into that online um, cycle where you you know, browse or look cool. You need to be mindful of that. So it's two different issues. One is shop and one is order. So there's hello. Is anyone with me?
Yes. Oh yeah. Sorry.
I was alone.
No, you're not alone. You're never alone.
No, you're not talking to yourself. I think we've lost our hosts.
Anita is apparently struggling.
Sorry, guys.
I
The
mean,
internet
it's
here
it's
because
fine.
we've got load shedding up on and off. Sorry. We don't carry on.
So
I'm going to try and go on
no,
my.
I think it's different issues. How that is very helpful for us if you put the right boundaries for doing way is very helpful on our budget and
Thanks, Graham.
sure, I'll shut up.
Thank you.
Natasha?
You're making up for the times that we're losing with the internet. Thank you.
Crazy how much harder. In fact, we had the family meeting here yesterday, just so that we could plan the day. And the kids love family meetings because, you know, they get to have their voice heard and they want to stand up front and they talk in circles for ages. And with one of the kids, I made a joke and interrupted them. And that was my impulsivity. And it completely took away from what they were trying to say, and it minimized them, and it was very hurtful for them, you know. And of course, they know I wasn't thinking. And I spoke up that that you know that happened, and you know, and that's the kind of thing with impulsivity. And you know, you can find it at home, and at your workplace. You know that sometimes like there's actions you make which could have been more heavily thought through. You know, if I'm running a team meeting, if I don't go in with a fixed agenda and a list of all the things that I need and want to say and stick to that list, you know, so that meeting could go. We could start off talking about one thing, then we're talking about another thing, then we're talking about the third thing. All of a sudden, we're talking about the first thing again, and it's just all over the place.
Thanks, Tash. Thank you, Rory, about where you have been impulsive. Trace, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think Trace is, I've gone on to Are you there? Yay. Have
yeah.
you got an impulsive story?
Aaron Graham.
Yes, Graham. You can tell them our story.
Which one?
Oh, we've got a great story.
We've got a lot of stories.
I know we've got lots of stories. The best story is what?
Tracy told me to, Tracy said, "Oh, Shane Graham, you're not managing to get your studies done, so come and work at my house." And then I came and worked at her house and took over all her clients and became a life coach and gave up on architecture, and she's regretted it every day since.
Yeah, so that's exactly it. And you're a great ADHD.
Yes.
You took so many years to become an architect, and you're a great
And
architect.
now you're an ADHD coach.
You're the best ADHD coach because you understand what you really do.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Does anybody else have a story about something they have done, said, bought on impulse that they'd like to share? Something that they can, something that's maybe, yeah, an impulse buy. Liesel.
I think I have 2 children and a husband on impulse.
Nice. So I'll give you a quick.
Sorry, I just wanted to tell you this is just so my husband and I, we were friends, and well, we weren't supposed to have a relationship. That was not planned, and then we were pregnant, and that wasn't planned either. So the conversation went something like this: so I don't like my surname. I guess we're gonna get married now. The answer was, yeah, I suppose so. And I made him phone my mother. My mother laughed. I was 6 weeks pregnant at the time. By the time that I was 13 weeks pregnant, we got married. Other people decided that we were supposed to marry in a church, so we did. Other people thought that we should have flowers, so we did. And our reception was, let's go to the park with a picnic. How about that? And then I had a baby, and then, well, the baby was starting to be a lot. She liked my company a lot. And I said, well, maybe if I get pregnant before she turns 3, maybe we'll have a second. So we did. And that's the biggest impulsive relationship thing I think I did.
Sure.
That's a lot, but that's beautiful too.
Thank you. So I have a really silly story. So I used to be in the fashion industry, and so I was into fashion and style and shopping, whatever. So I went to the shops, and I went past a shoe shop, and I stopped and I saw this amazing pair of shoes. Now, the shoe, if you can imagine this, it was a heel, it was a platform, and it didn't have a heel. So I thought, how the heck do you wear those shoes? Oh, let me go in and try. So I put the shoes on. So it's basically like, it curves, it's got the platform, but there's no heel. So you look like you're one of those, what are those mystical animals who walk on there? I mean, it's ridiculous. And they were about 3,500 Rand. And I bought them, and they are still in the box. And I have kept them to remind me of impulsive shopping and how ridiculous, you know, you can't wear these shoes. You cannot walk in them. You can kind of balance a bit.
What
but
size are they? Because I bet I can make them work.
will bring them. They're size 3. So you may have to squeeze, but
I
who
mean, we'll
might
squeeze
mind
anyway.
buys a pair of high heels that doesn't have a heel? There's no heel. I mean, I saw Lady Gaga had a pair, so I think that's where I got that idea. But I'm not Lady Gaga, and I've never worn them. So that's my impulse shopping. And there's been many impulse shopping, and you know, it's good to keep the stuff as a reminder. And I laugh about it today. But yeah, just things like that. So we're going to learn some tips on how to manage. So I like to call it the 3 Ds. So delay. And I've managed to work the word delay in my mind. So it's just practice, guys. You're not going to get it right every time. But I literally go to the shops and the shop assistant is like, oh, you need this, and convincing. And the ADHD in me loves the attention and the colors and the smells. I mean, don't ever go into that Lush shop in Cresto because it's very dangerous. But I literally tell myself delay. So I'll walk out, I'll walk around, look at my phone, go back to my shopping list, my to-do list. So I tell myself delay. And also when it comes to triggering situations. So obviously I work at a home for people who are battling with emotional regulations, and I don't always get it right. Sometimes I do react, but I literally tell myself now, and I've worked it into my psyche, delay. And if you delay things, you just take 10 minutes. I had a situation where I delayed something for a weekend, and it's changed. I would say it's changed the course of my life, because if I didn't delay, I think I would be in a terrible, terrible situation right now. So I say, thank goodness about learning this delay, the 3 Ds. So we've got delay and then distract. So if you've got the time and the capacity, take your mind off of the situation. So if you've got a big decision to make, take your mind off of it. You're actually giving your mind a break. And what happens is, so for me, I like to go and do an art therapy, or I work on a puzzle. My subconscious actually figures the answer out. So it's giving that, it's taking your focus off that thing and letting your mind actually, because if you're ADHD, we like problem solving. Our brains are really good at problem solving. So you just need to give it a bit of space and a bit of time, and it works itself out. And then you decide and take all the facts. So gather the evidence, look at your pros and cons, look at the whole situation. And sometimes what I find really helpful is to have a person who's got a very good objective, clinical, non-attached view. So there's a lady that works at the Bell House, the home that I work at, and I often go to her with situations, especially with the clients, and I'll say, you know, what should I do about this person who's reacting this way? And she's just got a really nice way of, it's like a helicopter view. She sees things very non-emotionally. And so it's also good to have a person like that in your life. Sort of like your safe person, someone who you know is going to just help you think about the situation. And then also another thing, when you are just going back to that shopping thing, because that's quite a big one. It's also good to ask yourself, do I need it? Do I want it? So am I going to use it? Question it, you know, am I going to make use of this, or do I just want it? And you'll see once you delay. So also with online shopping, I put things in my wait list because I usually wait for them to go on sale. So I wait, but then when I go back to it, I don't really want the thing anymore. So it's just putting in that pause and that space. And there's a really nice quote by Viktor Frankl that Tracy taught me. So it goes, between stimulus and response, there is a space. And within that space is where growth and freedom lies. So it's building that space and developing that space, taking time to think about things. And that's just a really nice tool to use. So we've got to figure out ways to also remind ourselves about the delay. So maybe you put something on your phone, or maybe like a little reminder system, or maybe a bangle or something that's going to remind you to pause, breathe, take some space, just delay, distract, decide. So we need those visual cues. We need those visual reminders. And that's what I have found to be really, really helpful. Would anybody like to share, or would anybody like to ask any questions about impulsivity? Or it doesn't really have to be about the topic. Would anybody like some advice? This is a support group, so we are here to support and to give you feedback and to give you help. I hope you have found this helpful. I practice delay a lot now, and it's really, really, or just telling yourself to slow down. Don't rush. You don't need to reply to that WhatsApp. It's not life or death. You can just take some time, go think about it.
So, Nisa, how much does our RSD play into this?
It's a huge thing because we are sort of people pleasers, and we don't want to, it's like, I'm thinking of a situation, and situations where you feel the need to reply to a message quickly. And it's like, I don't want to upset this person. I need to show them that I'm there and I'm going to reply now. So in that, that's how I think of it, Trace. But what are other ways, Trace, that RSD plays into it?
I think often, like what I was saying earlier, is like when you find yourself in a situation where you are feeling left out or feeling FOMO, your impulsivity can kick in to get you to try and change the subject where it's maybe not appropriate, or make a joke or whatever, just to make yourself feel more part of the group.
Relevant.
Or relevant, yeah. When you're feeling in a social situation where you're feeling out of your depth, then your impulsivity kicks in because you want to be that center of attention or life of the party or whatever it is that your ADHD makes you want to do. That you kind of do things that you wouldn't normally do, just because you're trying to cover up for the hurt that you're feeling. Even if it's like for me, when I'm feeling uncomfortable, I'll make jokes or laugh. And it can be the most inappropriate thing, but it's just that I'm trying to make light of the fact that I'm dying inside.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think that's how impulsivity can affect us
With
in those kind of
RSD,
such.
yeah.
Yeah, just because
yeah.
you're feeling so uncomfortable or and it's not even a fact that people are looking at you, but just the fact that in your ADHD mind or your what's this mind or whatever it is that you're thinking that people are looking at you and saying, don't be,
Lisa,
perfect.
I see you have your hand up.
Okay, so one thing I think I share with my daughter in terms of RSD is that either you didn't have a chance, you didn't feel comfortable, you didn't I know that I grew up from a very young age of something's wrong with me.
Yeah, you flag.
So I'm always wrong. It doesn't matter what. If something happened at school, my mother would ask me, "What did you do?" So even if I was bullied, it's what did you do? Because other people are not like that. They couldn't possibly have done something. So what did you do? So I saw that in my daughter as well, without even that. And that is, what did I do wrong? Because other children seem to be making friends easier. They seem to be able to make the school happen easier. Everything seems to be easier for them. So what did I do wrong? And you obsess about what could that person mean? What did I say? Which of the sentences that I possibly uttered might have been the inappropriate word, sentence, connection, something that I said. Okay, so now I need to clear it up. Now I need to go. And now the poor other person sits there and you come down on them with this intense storm of what did I do? Tell me what I did. You have to tell me what I did. I want to make it right. And it starts speeding up. What the hell? You didn't do anything. No, but I must have, because you haven't spoken to me in 3 days. So how can I make it right? I'm apologizing. Please, I have done something wrong. Please forgive me. And this poor other person sits there and like, oh, I'm going to go now. And now you go like, oh shit, now I did more wrong. I shouldn't have gone out them. Oh my goodness. What I now did wrong. I now did more wrong. How am I going to fix this? I need to move. I need to never see these people again. But I have to go to school tomorrow, or I have to go to work tomorrow. And if you're me, then after about 3 months, your work tells you, you are too weird for us. And you go, how was I too weird? What did I do?
I was too weird for us.
I was dressing in grey, for goodness sakes. What did I do? That it was the plants on my desk. Was it the picture on my computer? What did I do wrong? And it's like, no, you just simply you. Well, that sucks. How can I fix that? So I think RSD is, it doesn't matter what you do right or wrong. You're going to assume it was you and you did something, because obviously, and I think for my daughter, it came to a head for us because teachers try to tell her to be quieter, not be quiet and say nothing. So then she goes, even if I ask her something at home to do, fine, I'll be a slave. It's like, no, I just asked you to pick up your clothes. I don't need you to actually, handle the entire household. I just asked you to pick up your clothes. Fine, I never get anything right. Okay, I don't even know how to fix that. So that is how it plays out in our house, because then I go and what did I do wrong? Did I mess up my kid? What must I do better? Other parents look at my household and it's a bit crazy. So yes, lovely.
Trace, would you like to, are you there, Trace?
100%. So it was really good. Liesl, good what you said. It's 100% right what's going on. But how much do you take that and make it yours?
I've had to learn over time to basically do the distract of I pick what I want to think about and I pick what I want to concentrate on. I maybe go and draw. And eventually, maybe after a week or two, I no longer obsess, which is probably a better time to try and engage with a person. I still have people that have ghosted me that I have no idea why, and I had to learn to be okay with that. And then I have other people, like today I sent a message to, you said this 3 weeks ago. Can we just clarify what you meant? Because this is what I think you said. And the person could come back and say, no, that had nothing to do with you. It was just in my own head. And I'm like, okay, cool, we're good.
Why?
So it was a very long,
These are why 3 weeks.
arduous journey.
Yeah. Why 3 weeks?
Because I have to also think about how am I going to state something to actually say what is going on in my head, considering that most people cannot figure out what is going on in my head. And I'm weird and all those things. And this person is kind of important in my life. And I really would want a friendship to continue. And we both lost a friend in death. So our relationship is kind of weird, not strange, but weird, because we're both dealing with a lot of grief.
Okay.
And I don't want to upset, but I also don't want to be upset. So I have to be at a point where I would be able to take someone saying, you know what, you are way too weird to have in my life. And I have to be okay with walking around and not having a complete meltdown in front of a person.
But when you say a
I
meltdown,
think I can. I think I can identify with what Liesl is saying. Is that and not necessarily in such kind of drastic circumstances, but I've woken up, a week late and I sleep like a log. But I've woken up in the middle of the night, a week or a couple of days late and thought, that is what I should have said in the situation. Where you're in a place where someone has said something and you are just at a loss for words and you obsess over it and you think, what should I have done in this situation to have come out with a better outcome? And it's not at the top of your mind, but it's in your subconscious, and you dwell over it and you mull over it and you churn over it over and over and over again. And I'm not outgoing like Liesl is, that I will say to the person, oh, this is what you said, this is what I was expecting, this is, tell me what you meant. I'll just obsess about it and think, oh, fuck, I should have said, well, your mama is so ugly that she makes Freddy Krueger have nightmares. And then it'll be okay. But, I understand that kind of obsessive mulling over of something like just a comment that's been said, and until you can make sense of it in your own mind. And once you've done that, then sure, I'll let it go. But until that happens, it's that just go away.
So just to clarify, so I read up about how long is acceptable eye contact before in normal conversations, people will feel either uncomfortable or not, because in school I was told by, for instance, one teacher, look at me. No, don't look at me like that. Look at me. Don't look at me like that. And I had a really confused expression on my face because I'm now looking at you, but no, I shouldn't look at you like that. So what that was, I found out when I was a teenager, is you're looking at me like you are undressing me. Well, no, that's not right. So how do I do this? So I actually had to learn how to look at people in a mostly regular fashion. I had to modulate my voice because my mother told me that my voice was too high-pitched, too fast, too loud, too whatever. So I learned to modulate my voice into a deeper tone. I sit with people at a 45-degree, slightly angled away from them, because I've been told that I come across as very aggressive, even when I'm just maybe emphatic, but not aggressive, because it's just a topic that I really like. I have had to learn how to find the cues when someone wants to come out of a out of a conversation. I am this conversation right now, I will probably obsess about for the next couple of days and check everything that I said, so that I hope I got it right.
Please,
So,
what is your diagnosis?
yeah,
What is your diagnosis?
I don't have one.
Don't you?
I
Okay.
don't have one. But my daughter is severe ADHD and dysgraphia with a possibility of autism. We don't know.
You don't have.
I made peace with them. But the rejection dysphoria thing is unfortunately one thing that all of those share.
Yeah.
Mm.
So the
So
is
I'm assuming
directly related to someone with ADHD. So you can't have RSD unless you're ADHD.
I considering my children's mix, I mean the possibilities are that I possibly have both, but it is still I couldn't get anyone to give me a diagnosis when it didn't cost me an arm and a leg, so I'm not even going to try.
Okay, all right.
But yes, it's just a I understand the workings thereof, because it's a it's an ongoing thing.
I can imagine. I can hear it. I can hear it's a really hard struggle for you. I'm sorry.
Okay, now you're going to make me cry. So
I can
Well,
hear,
it's okay. Crying is okay. This is a support group. So
I can hear, Lisa, it's like a really hard struggle and nobody's been able to help you.
there isn't really help for adults.
Okay, well, I think there is. And I think that's what we're all about here.
there is, Lisa.
Don't have all the answers, but I can hear what you're saying to me is identify, and I can hear, and that's okay.
Yeah, and we're here to support you, Liesel. We're here as support.
Thank you.
We're here to hear you. There's no judgment. There's no, what you're saying is totally your abnormal is our normal. So don't ever think that you're alone or.
Oh no, it's the biggest compliment that one of my therapists ever gave me was that I'm one of the weirder clients that he's had. I was very chuffed with that.
You're not weird. I think you're on the spectrum.
I like weird.
No, you're not. I think you're on the spectrum. I think you're highly intelligent.
I identify with the weird. The word weird, I went and did a whole tree of all the synonyms of weird, being eccentric and unique and all of those, and I took that word for my own. So
Yeah.
I'm absolutely fine with it.
I'm also weird, so don't worry.
But I really think you.
I have shoes with no heel.
I think if that's something that you can identify with and something you can own, then that is a starting point.
Yeah.
It's somewhere that you can build from. It's something you can take ownership from. Yeah, it's something you can take ownership from and to build your view about it. So if you understand that you are weird or not everyone's cup of tea, then that is a place where you can say, all right, I am weird. I'm different to most other people. So if I get a negative reaction from this guy or this girl or this boss or this car guard attendant or whoever it is, then it's okay because I understand that that's what I am. I'm not going to take that skiff look to heart. I'm just going to roll with it and say, I am who I am. You can take me or leave me, but at the end of the day, the car guard or my boss or that random lady standing in the queue has no input on my life other than the dirty look she gave me for 2 seconds.
Yep, that's kind of the attempt, the work.
Yeah.
But normal is boring, Liesel.
Oh, I agree, but I apparently was around them too much, and now I've lost myself and I'm trying to find myself. So I'm looking for weird and interesting people.
Well,
Yeah.
Well,
you've
it
come
sounds
to
like you're on the
my
right track.
place.
Family.
It
Welcome.
just gets weirder.
Thanks. And you both owe me whiskey.
Yeah. Oh,
Ooh.
yeah. So Liesel, this is really what it's all about. Is that we've all gone through that journey and we've all felt like that. And you're not
Yeah.
alone.
And it's because of
You're not alone.
Graham that I'm here today, because I gave him a call. And I
Oh.
suppose it was also a rather weird call.
Hey, Graham, well
It
done.
wasn't weird. It was kismet or meant to be, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
exactly what it's about. Awesome.
We're
So
so
what-
glad that you're here.
Yeah, welcome to the family, Liesel. You're meant to be exactly where you are, and you will find your way. We all did in our own way, and you can ask any of them. We've all found our way in some strange way we have.
Thank you.
Mm.
Okay, guys, it's 8:06.
Thank you, Anita.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks, Nabila and Liesel and Graham, and thanks, Trace. Thank you for
Thanks,
letting me
Anita,
know.
sorry I was late.
No,
No,
thank
that's cool. And thank you for filling in while the network was down.
yes.
And yeah,
Upward and onward we go.
we are here. If you need support, call anytime. Reach out. I think that's the best thing to do is to keep reaching out and just know that you're not alone. ADHD is awesome. We've just got to learn how to use it properly.
Oh, sure.
Channel.
Yep.
Channel it. Superpower.
Thank you, Anita. Thanks, everybody. It was great. And we'll see you next month.
Thank you, everyone. I will
Bye.
see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.